to Late to the Party, where we are about to enter the danger zone for this week's pick of Top Gun. From 1986, and I forgot to write who the director was. I think it's Tony Scott, if I remember correctly. And it has an IMDb score of 6.9. It has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 57%. And yes, it does have a Walmart rating of 4.7. Josh had to find it because I couldn't do it. All right, this fantastic movie stars Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer, Kelly McGillis, Anthony Edwards, Tom Skerritt, Meg Ryan, Tim Robbins, and Michael Ironside.
Woo!
And I forgot to write it down, but it also has Theo from Die Hard. He's also in it as Sundown. That's the only one I remember off the top of my head.
The black pilot or the black radar guy, his name is Sundown.
Who's hosting this?
I'm sorry.
All right.
It's okay. That didn't go over my head either. I was like, what?
Anyway, so has everybody seen this movie at least once?
Yeah.
I've seen it a few times.
This was my first time.
Once for like the three of us, just because of age. Isaac, you never saw it? All right, dude, you get to start us off.
Never
What did
seen
you
this
think?
movie. Very intrigued by it because of all the loud, those planes, dude. Those things were wild. That's wild stuff. But like Jose said earlier, if this isn't a recruitment video for the Navy, I don't know what is, because this was all about, hey boys, let's join. Let's you guys want to act crazy and do crazy shit and run it at the bars and hook up with whoever you want. Join Top Gun. I mean the Navy. But yeah, it was really good. It was very I was drawn in the whole time. I wasn't looking at my phone and trying to get away from it. I actually watched it from beginning to end, and I could see why it was so popular back in the 80s and why it's like getting ready to do another sequel 25 or 30 years later. But yeah, it was good, entertaining.
All right, Lego, what'd you think?
It's mostly pretty entertaining. I mean, it's like those planes are something. I mean, they like just watching them fly around is like, whoa, those are fucking cool. You know? But you know, obviously it's not without its faults. The love storyline is kind of, let's say, a little slow, and I'm not a huge fan of that music. And like, we go from fucking Kenny Loggins like rocking the fuck out, and then it's just like do 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 do, and then like it's so mellow, so 80s, so slow and sleepy. So I don't know. It was a little disjointed, and seeing Tom Cruise now, man, like with the knowledge of all his crazy Scientology and, you know, abuse and all this and that, seeing his intense face and him getting really in there and being creepy on the girl, I was like, it cast it in a whole new light for me. Because I don't think I'd seen this for like probably almost 20 years. So now with fresh eyes, I was very aware of how gnarly he was. So that's kind of my takeaway, but yeah.
Nate, what'd you think? Going back and seeing it for what, like the 300th time, probably.
I haven't seen it in a while, and the biggest difference to me, right? Because I was trying to just, you know, put the Late to the Party spin on it, and the biggest difference to me was how ugly Kelly McGillis is to me now. Like, her teeth, like, I don't know what's, like, she has not aged well, man. It's like, I was telling my wife, I was like, it's like somebody took a branch off the ugly tree, and we'll call it the ugly stick, and they broke it over their knee, and they tied the two sticks together with a chain, and they made some ugly chucks, and they fucked her up in the head with it. Because she was like, her teeth, oh God, she put the ugh in ugly. It was rough. And I was just like, dude, she does take my breath away, but not in a good way. Like, when I can see like her exhaling over those teeth, I could see like streams of halitosis. Oh, it was rough, dude. She was. It was like Bugs Bunny. You can see the strings and like the finger telling you to come. Only it was telling me to get back. Rough. But I mean, they do a good job making Goose be extra lovable and then killing him like in a super sad way. So I mean, that was cool. Like, you don't want you rather see Maverick die than Goose, but very, very classic way to set you up to let you down. So it held up for me. I liked it. I just like the he should have been with Meg Ryan. It would have made more sense to me.
They were the same height, so I guess it's okay. Should have been. All right, Jose, what'd you think?
Well, this was actually my first time seeing this.
Oh,
So I was not gonna lie, I had high hopes. And let me tell you, if you're looking for a movie with a great story, amazing like chemistry, and just downright gosh darn good acting, this isn't it. I watched it on my phone. I will give it that. That didn't do it justice. I feel like this is one of those movies you need to watch on like the biggest screen that you got possible, like the living room TV. For most Latinos, that's the biggest TV in the house. So, that's where you need to watch it with surround sound, just blasting. I don't know, man. There was no chemistry between the girl and Tom Cruise, definitely. The story wasn't intriguing enough to keep me hooked. I had to actually try and watch it twice. I will say I've never wanted a leather jacket more badly than after watching that movie. So I definitely want a bomber leather jacket. I'll be looking for one. I don't know. I think it's been hyped up for me so much by a bunch of people that I was like, oh man, I was just expecting something just like majorly badass. And I mean, at the end, did we start World War III at the end? Is that what's going on? Like in that, it starts World War III, right? Isn't that like what the ending is supposed to? That's kind of what I got.
You'll have to wait for the sequel.
But I can definitely see, man, the action, the jet sequences was pretty badass. I would imagine that this was like a frat boys movie. Like every dude was like, yeah, man, Top Gun, let's go see it. But it, because it was badass. Like it had some badass action sequences, it had some cool fighter jets, but everything else was kind of like Nate said, if you take it on the, if you try to put it on the scale that we've been judging other movies on, it doesn't kind of hold up. But I can see why it's so freaking popular.
Did I say that?
No, didn't you say something about trying to put the late to the party sort of scale to it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it doesn't hold. I just like Ellie McGillis
Like
didn't, but hasn't held. Yeah, she hasn't held up for me. And
She hasn't held up.
Yeah,
I give you guys a Pepsi challenge. Google her right now. Google her 2021.
I did.
Ooh, she's like a Kathy Bates doppelganger.
Well,
rough.
I mean, I can see why this movie's so beloved. And I think if I would have watched it when I was a lot younger, I think I probably would have liked it a lot more. Not to say I didn't enjoy it, because I did. But I don't know. I just felt like it was missing something.
I'm almost afraid to ask you, but go ahead.
So I've seen the movie dozens of times. Although, like Nate, I think this time I was watching it with a more critical eye. I was actually paying attention more to it, and so it had its ups and downs. On the upside, just about everything in the movie is practical effects. So these aren't CGI aircraft flying around. These are like the real thing. I don't know. I didn't, look into any making of to see how they pull it off, but there's a lot of pretty intense fighter sequences. There's one scene there where like all of the MiGs are doing barrel rolls at the same time while they're chasing the Tomcats, and it's thanks for that, Nate. So So a lot of the practical effects, but also we all know that Tom Cruise is like the size of a hobbit. So there's a lot of special effects involved where he's being filmed and he looks like he's taller than Kelly McGillis, and that's just not factually true. So if you have an eye for that, I think in the volleyball scene, like when he's like spiking over the net, you're like, bro, you can't jump that high. That's just not possible. Nobody believes Frodo is dunking on people at the volleyball net. But yeah, the one thing that really stuck out to me watching it this time was especially that first scene when they show up at the bar at Miramar at Top Gun, and just how women used to look back in the 80s. That's like a different world, man. Wow. To think that like those women were considered like attractive, and I'm like, that's rough. That's real rough. So I wasn't quite as offended as Nate was about Kelly McGillis back then. I didn't think that she was hideous. I'm not speaking of her now, but at the time, I think it was perfectly appropriate for the movie. So.
Oh, she's cutting out here.
Josh, I did also notice that they did a lot of leaning.
A lot of what?
They leaned in a little, like a lot. Like when
Leaning
he's in a
in all
scene,
the
they're
time.
leaning like against the counter or something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go into some. I'll lead off with the favorite scene and least favorite scene. Let's do that. So my least favorite scene is the love scene, I guess. I do not need to see tongue shadowed and all that fun crap. I don't need to see a remake of the beginning of like Risky Business with Rebecca De Mornay. I don't need any of that. And it reminded me of the love sequence with Double Impact. It's trying to be more artsy than it needed to be because he is not that sensitive of a guy. He is not. Maverick is not that at all. None of those guys are. And to make it, yeah, no, that was just dumb. But I will flip that with the favorite scene of mine is the volleyball scene for obvious reasons. Those guys are hot.
Except for Goose.
No, he is too.
That guy's just wearing his
So
t-shirt
Josh
at the
asked,
beach.
yeah, about that, and I think that's just to show that Goose is the more wholesome guy. He's married with a kid, and he's not showing off. That's what I'm going with my head. That's my fantasy of Goose, so you can stuff it.
What do you think
I
about Tom
think-
Cruise wearing jeans on the beach playing volleyball?
Yeah, man.
That's just, you know,
He's badass.
that's how I know he's also not spiking the ball because it's not the height. It's also he's playing in jeans, but you know, it's Maverick. What are you gonna do?
He defies gravity in the Tomcat. He defies gravity on the volleyball court.
Right. Isaac.
One little small fact. I looked up how much impact did it do for the Navy, and enlistment went up 500% after this movie.
Oh,
500%.
Everybody
you
fell for this.
serious?
So
Well,
it makes me
I-
wonder how much influence the Navy had into putting this movie out and all that too.
America.
I remember growing up during this time too. My dad and his best friend were part of the Navy League, so we got to go to all of these like air shows and things like that, and see the Blue Angels and the Tomcats fly and all that. And yeah, that place was like packed with people. And
You see a
when
lot
this
of
movie
volleyball
came out, that
happening.
was like the thing. Having those Tomcats out there flying was like the shit.
You'll see a lot of volleyball action going on at those
No,
events.
no. Unfortunately, no.
Just checking. Favorite scene has to be the very beginning when we're seeing how crazy his flying is, and he gets head to head with that, and he does that. He flips him off. That's by far the coolest. And like you, Devin, Nate, enough with the damn pictures, dude. Jeez Louise, man. Sometimes
alone.
life is rough, bro. Shit.
It's like 70 there, dude. Calm down.
So is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise don't
Dude,
look
that
like he
guy
got
drinks-
ridden hard,
That guy
right?
drinks infant embryos to sleep, dude.
There is a 5-year gap between Kelly McGillis and Tom
Yeah,
Cruise.
we had to look it up.
look it up.
Is it like leap years?
And like you said, Liz,
She's like 5 years older than he is.
worst scene had to be that love scene. That was just so terrible. Like,
So,
come on, man. We don't have to see artsy sex. Let's just see the sex.
Game of Thrones that and move on.
Yeah. Shit. But this was 86, so we had a long way to go. But yeah, that scene where he's like, oh, that's a great picture. And he takes that picture of him flipping him off. Perfect.
Greetings. That's right.
Nice.
Lego.
Yeah, dude, that fighter jet scene at the end, man, where they're going against the Russians and more Russians start showing up and they're just like, dude, it was so intense. I was so hyped. The whole family was like, they were doing other things, but as soon as that scene came on, everybody was like, got real locked into the TV. And that was fun, man. It was really cool. Like those jets are just so impressive. So seeing them in action was really cool. The worst scene I think was Goose and Maverick in the bar when they were first hitting on the chick and to the karaoke, and she goes and she puts him off or whatever, and I don't know, man, that was just so cringy for me. And like he chases her into the bathroom and it's just this whole thing, and I was like, man, this is, you're not selling what a romantic this guy is, you know. Oh man, not at all.
Maybe he took
I
his
don't know.
love cues from Pepe Le Pew.
He may have, dude. Maybe we'll see him in the next Space Jam. Tom Cruise is Pepe. I love it. But yeah, that was rough. That was real rough.
Nate.
Let's see. Worst scene. I don't know how much of a scene it was, but the most cringe-worthy thing, aside from the obvious thing I've been trolling you guys with the whole time, is when Val Kilmer goes, when they're in the locker room, I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, just get on your knees and suck it. Like, that was a cringeworthy thing. And then, what did I like? I mean, I liked that final scene. You know, the redemption that he had. You know, he was freaking out. He went through the jet wash, and you know, you could feel the wheels turning. They did a good job with showing him holding Goose's tags in his hand, and he just like had to, you know, run through all of that. I think that they could have fleshed out the story with his dad. It seemed like it was a MacGuffin at the beginning of it, and then all of a sudden he bumps into the old guy. Oh yeah, I went with your dad. He was cool, and it was like, wow, there was like this big underlying thing that the guy just like smashed instantaneously. So I think that maybe you don't say anything there, or you say something better, you know, that piece. But I don't know, I'm still entertained, you know. Something about those movies that came out during my formative years still pull some heartstrings. I just have to recast the girl in my mind, I suppose.
Don't worry, because in the sequel, it's Jennifer Connelly's the love interest. So that'll be good. You don't have to worry about Kelly McGillis. She's not coming back. So
You hooked up with
Don't worry
Jennifer
about that.
Connelly too?
yeah, so in the sequel, it's Tom Cruise, Jennifer Connelly, and Val Kilmer all come back.
Well, no, Connelly wasn't in the first one.
No, she wasn't in the first one, but she's going to be the love interest in the second one.
I
So
can
you
see
don't have to worry about Kelly McGillis coming back.
I can see the cheesy lines with her, like they're in the bar and she comes in, he's like, hey, can I buy you a drink? And she'll be like, no thanks, I'm just browsing.
Oh,
Okay.
Jennifer
Jose!
Connelly.
Yeah, I would have to say all my favorite scenes were the ones with the jets, just because of what Josh pointed out too. There was no special effects; it was all practical. Not too sure how they did it, but that was pretty badass. I know when the final scene with the Russians coming in, I sat up. I was kind of watching it like this the whole time, and when that was going on, I did one of those, oh shit, let me see what's going on. So that was like I said, I loved all of those scenes. And again, bouncing off of what everybody's already said, anything with like the love story was just cringe as hell, man. I was like, is this how? I can't imagine this is how people hit on women in the 80s. But then again, I can't imagine that's how they hit on women on the 80s. So, it just there was just no chemistry there, and you could definitely tell. And I feel like they could have done without that love, with all that love story, and done more like Nate said, either the whole thing with his father and getting killed or whatever, or just fleshed out some of the other characters. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just anything with the Jets are awesome. Anything with the love shit going on was like, what are they doing? I do love the silhouette though of the tongues. That was awesome. Really well done. You could tell that was some grade A acting right there. No stunt doubles needed. So yeah.
Yeah,
I actually heard that was Gene Simmons' tongue that they used for the.
They did have to put Tom Cruise on a platform though to get him to be at eye level with her.
Laying down.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. Best and worst.
Yeah, it's hard to top all the fighter sequences. I particularly like that they foreshadowed like his trademark move when he pulls that braking maneuver against Jester at Top Gun, and then he uses it again against the MiGs at the end. But one of my favorite things, and this is probably a holdover from other things like Predator, is every time he and Goose are getting ready, they do their high five at high and then low, and it's like, how many times did I practice that with my friends back in the day, trying to like nail it, and it never worked. Those guys must have like spent a couple of hours on the side just like practicing over and over and over again. But one of the things that aside from all of the stuff that's so dated from the 80s, one of the things that kind of irritated me this time, and I don't know if it was an irritation, but it was just kind of like, why is this happening? Like every single freaking sequence when they're not in the jets, everybody is sweaty as hell. Did anybody notice that? Like they're perspiring, like
yes.
In the ready room, in the friggin' shower, at the beach, like having dinner, like everybody's like perspirating like all over the place. And I'm like, what is happening? Is this because when they filmed it was hot as hell and nobody shelled out the money for the AC? Or are they trying to reflect that everybody's like stress level is high? I don't know. It bugged the hell out of me.
It's true. He would just be like, those people are sweating again. He was getting really mad. All right, so let's go into the illustrious buckets. Isaac, bucket me.
I'll go 6 buckets. It was entertaining. It wasn't perfect, but it was fun. And I just signed up for the Navy, guys.
Be all you can be. Oh wait, that's the enemy. Lego?
Well, it's we're coming off the Independence Day weekend here, July 4th. Lots of America happening. So I got to go ahead and give this one 4 buckets for the 4th of July. I love. Dude, it played like a commercial. I mean, it was bad. And even like the scene where Tom was talking to the old man. Sorry, maybe this is my least favorite scene. I don't know. They're coming to me now. The scene where Tom Cruise is talking to the older pilot, the teacher guy. And my wife walked by and she goes, "What are you watching this on? Is this like, what is that drug commercial doing on?" And I'm like, "No, this is part of the movie." And she's like, "That's not a commercial?" And I was like, "No." And but it was like one. Like the whole movie was like shot like that, like a bad commercial. And everything that wasn't jets wasn't cool. So, yeah, 4 buckets for me. I guess I went off on a rant there, but if it ain't jets, it ain't cool. And they could have, whatever. I don't know. I'm not into the whole fucking military shit. So you guys got me. Boom, 4 buckets.
8.
8 buckets. In the 80s, it would have been 12 buckets for me, but yeah. And
age has tempered you.
I just like, I don't know, man. homegirl that just like was haunting me the whole time. Like they would get into the jets, like they get into the jets again. I'm like, oh cool, jets, and then he go back down with his halitosis maiden, and I'd just be like, oh man, just disappointment, thorough disappointment in this woman. So I didn't think she was too smashing back then. I mean, there was plenty of great looking ladies in the 80s, but not in this movie. Meg Ryan's still cute, but no, Kelly McGillis, no.
Jose.
So, anyways, I'm a happy medium with my fellow caveman. I'm gonna go with the solid 7 on this one. There's no denying it had a cultural impact for a lot of people. I just don't see it on that epic scale like we've seen. Like I was expecting, I'll be honest, I was expecting an epic scale one on this one because I've heard about Top Gun, and every time I've mentioned it, I've never seen Top Gun, people look at me like I'm, like I'm never mind, I'm not gonna say that. Like I'm a weirdo or something. And they like, really, you never seen Top Gun? I was like, yeah. I'm like, so for me, it was already hyped up and built up in my mind. And when I finally saw it, I was like, huh, like, what the hell? Like, this was not what I was expecting. So, but like I said, there is no denying that it did have a cultural impact, and the fact that we're getting a sequel so many years later lets you know that there's something there. I just couldn't find what it was. So 7 buckets for me.
Josh?
Yeah, this movie is going to be in 8 buckets for me. There were some parts that were not as good watching it now as it was in my memory. Obviously, the acting was not as hot. The directing, probably not as hot. The story is good. I blame any failure in execution on the directing part. Definitely, it's fun to watch, and I just don't think we can underestimate the amount of, or overestimate rather. We can't overestimate the amount of cultural impact that this movie has had. While I'm watching it, I'm seeing things that I've seen in dozens of other films that I enjoy, and well, I mean, like Isaac said, it increased recruitment for the Navy 500%. There's a reason for that. It definitely touched a nerve, and it affected action films, especially military films, for decades. So definitely 8 buckets.
Well, I give it a nice 6 buckets. I definitely liked it a lot more when I was younger. But now it's just, I kind of quantify it in the basic category of movies for me. It's like, if it's on and we're out somebody's house, cool. Or if they want to watch it, yay. But I don't think I'm going to actively seek out watching this movie ever again. So, but, okay. So, there is our review of 1986's Top Gun, and I believe the next picks go to you, Lego.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are in for it.
Oh, yay.
So make sure you guys stay tuned Monday here at 9:30 when we get to pick our next movies. And I am now nervous because it is Lego. I have to gird my loins for this stuff. So for Late to the Party, I'm Liz.
And Josh.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jose.
And I'm disappointed in Kelly McGillis.
Okay. Night.
We're canceled.
not I'm sure you're not as disappointed as the people that got, that signed up for the Navy only to find out it was nothing like the movie.
Oh, right? You mean they don't station everyone in San Diego on a beachfront property?
You too,